my system isn't really a system. It's just a matter of reading the law. Okay, I've been, the code buster for many years, and my method, that I learned from Lloyd Smith and Kurt Riggin is to show them the mirror. If an officer is going to charge me in violation of a statute, I'm going to say, can I see that? And I'm going to write down the statute, and I'm going to ask him, what's that book? You can't remember all these codes. What's that book that I saw you writing in the car in my mirror? And he says, oh, that's the selected titles. And I tell him, can I see it? The cop goes back to his car and gets the book. And I said, can I write down the title of that? And I wrote it down. And I asked the cop, where do I get that? And the cop said, well, they only sell this in the code revisor's office at the Capitol in Olympia. So I went down the very next day to Olympia, to the state capitol, to the code revisor's office. And I bought a copy of the exact same book that all the cops carry in their car here in Washington State. So people, ask me, well, Louis, what makes you think the cops are going to listen to you and nobody else? And I go, they're not listening to me. They're listening to what their bosses, their supervisor, said to them in the law book that they gave them to carry in their car. So in Washington State, when somebody hands my flyers to the cop, their eyeballs bug out of their head because they recognize the statutes out of the book that they've read that they carry in their car. And so you hand one of my flyers to the cops, their eyeballs bug out, and they say, hold on a minute, and they run back to their car, and they flip open their book, and they compare the statute in their book to the statute in my flyer, and next thing you know, they're coming back to the car telling, one of my clients, or whatever, saying, well, I don't agree with your lawyer, Mr. Ewing, but I'm going to let you go this time. Now keep in mind, I'm not an attorney, never went to law school, not a member of the bar. I would never stoop so low as to claim that I am an attorney who's a member of the State Bar Association. I would never stoop so low to join such a criminally corrupt, morally debased, and incompetent, illegal legal association of what I call feckless pettifoggers. That's what I consider all bar attorneys, feckless pettifoggers.
Well, I do have a couple that seem to be on our side. The man that helped get Donna Taylor's son released, and he's also representing Edgar Steele right now, trying to get him a new trial after basically being sold down the river. Let me get your opinions on a couple of cases here. Edgar Steele's. I mean, I know Edgar. He's been on my show a long time. That may be why he got targeted. Just a kind of a warning for you, since the FBI thinks
I don't know anything about his case.
Okay, well, he got framed. He got found guilty, but his attorney, who got disbarred right after getting him time. They haven't set his sentence yet. So anyway, he's working on a new trial. So. Well, I can't put down, I usually use the joke, what's 100 attorneys at the bottom of the ocean, a good start?
Well, I'm going to reveal to you probably a couple secrets here, what I consider the two biggest legal fines in the last 20 years.
Okay.
The person who is represented by an attorney who's a member of the bar has a fool for a client. Okay? You've heard the opposite. You've heard the person who represents himself has a fool for a client, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, the word attorney comes from the word attornment, to turn, twist words around to say things they don't mean. Okay? That's what an attorney who's a member of the bar is. But see, and that's defined in the statutes, but there's no definition for lawyer in the state statutes, but you will find a definition for lawyer in a law dictionary. It says one who knows the law. Now, at law, a person who's represented is considered a ward of the court. Non compos mentis. Look that up, that word. Ward of the court. W-A-R-D. Ward of the court. That person is non compos mentis, mentally incompetent, a child, a fool, unable to speak. That's why you're not allowed to talk when you're represented by an attorney, because at law you're considered an idiot, a child, a fool, unable to speak. So isn't that the truth, Your Honor? Anybody who's represented by an attorney who's a member of the bar is an idiot? I refuse to be an idiot. I'm not a child. I'm not a fool. I'm not unable to speak. I'm not incompetent. I can't be represented. Only an idiot would ever allow themselves to be represented by an attorney who's a member of the bar. And the right to be represented has no foundation in a civilian courtroom. I'm going to tell you, you're going to freak out when I tell you this, Clay. This is one of the two biggest legal secrets. I'll tell you the other one in a few minutes. But the right to be represented has no foundation in law in a civilian courtroom. The only place the right to represent exists is inside a military courtroom. And I'm going to read you the statute, RCW 38.38.376, Article 38, Duties of Trial Counsel of Defense Counsel, subsection 1. The trial counsel of a general or special courts-martial shall prosecute in the name of the state and shall, under the direction of the court, prepare the record of the proceedings. Subsection 2. The accused has the right to be represented in his or her defense before a general or special courts-martial or in an investigation under RCW 38.38.316 as provided in this subsection. That is 100% consistent with Title 10 of the United States Code, Section 838. That's 10 U.S.C. 838, subsection A says, the trial counsel of a general or special courts-martial shall prosecute in the name of the United States and shall, under the direction of the court, prepare the record of the proceedings. Subsection B1 says, the same thing as the RCW state statute says, the accused has the right to be represented in his defense before a general or special courts-martial or at an investigation.
You're calling back into a live show. We are reconnecting you now.
Of this title.
Hold on just a second here. I don't want to miss anything, but somehow we've lost something here.
Did you hear me for the last few seconds?
I got you. What did I lose here?
I don't know.
Okay. I think I lost my talk to, so hang on a second. Let me hook back up.
Okay.
We dropped a couple of stations here. But...
Okay.
Welcome to TalkShoe. Please enter the call ID.
Come on.
They have a lot of control to shut you off, don't they?
Yeah.
They don't want people to find out, maybe,
What?
about the right to be represented. This has never been revealed on a radio show yet.
Well, they certainly don't want this. There's a problem with this call. Hold on while we try to get it back. But I still have you up. I still have BTR up. I still have Crusade up. And
Okay. Let me read that statute again. Title 10, United States Code, Section 838. The trial counsel of a general or special courts-martial shall prosecute in the name of the United States and shall, under the direction of the court, prepare the record of the proceedings. Subsection B1 says, the accused has the right to be represented in his defense before a general or special courts-martial or in an investigation under Section 832 of this title, Article 32, as provided in this subsection. So there you have it. That's one of the two biggest legal secrets to come out in the last 20 years. The right to representation only exists inside a military courtroom before a general or special courts-martial or in an investigation in a military tribunal. Okay? The Sixth Amendment doesn't say anything, does not use the word represent. Okay? But Ferretta, there's a case called Ferretta, the very first case where they started using that word a whole bunch of times. It said, this is why the judges make such a big stink when a pro se litigant wants to defend himself. The judge will trick you with words and say, well, you have to waive your rights to counsel in order to represent yourself. Well, that's a lie. The judges are just flat out lying.
Since it appears you're calling back into a live show, we are reconnecting you now.
There is no requirement in the law that you waive your right to counsel in order to defend yourself. You have an absolute legal right to defend yourself without waiving a right. I've got case law that says you cannot be compelled to waive one right in order to exert another. It's illegal. They cannot force you.
Please enter the call ID followed by the pound key.
They cannot force you to waive one right in order to exert another. Now, the next biggest legal secret I'm
Your
going to
entry
reveal
is
to you
not
guys.
valid,
Hold on just
or
a
your
second.
call is
Hold
not
on.
scheduled at this time. 8. Welcome to TalkShoe. Please enter the call ID.
Let me in here.
Your entry is not valid, or your call is not scheduled at this time. 887590. Welcome to TalkShoe. Please enter the call ID followed by the pound key. You may.
What you're going to have to do is just record this program and play it on the
Okay,
calculator.
I got
If
it.
you are
I
not a
got it.
TalkShoe member, press.
Okay, we should be back on there.
Your PIN was not recognized
come
or is being
on.
used by another caller. Voice users, note that touch tones can be unreliable across the internet. Please be persistent. You may dial at any
I
time
am
during this announcement.
persistent.
Enter your PIN followed by the pound key.
I did.
If you are not a TalkShoe member, press 1, then pound. To get access to all features, sign up for a free account at TalkShoe.com.
They played it. That's the Jewish person who owns the station that you're broadcasting from doing that.
Well,
Okay.
PIN followed by the pound key. If you are not a TalkShoe member,
Okay, so since they're messing around with us, why don't we talk a little bit about them? There's actually no such thing as a race or religion of people called Jew. They don't exist. Today in 2011, when you read Revelations 2:9 and Revelations 3:9, it says, "Beware those who call themselves the Jew, but who are not the Jew, but who lie and are from the synagogue of Satan."
I'm sorry, Louis. That's on the cover of the book that nobody seems to want to talk to me about, called Mystery Babylon. That's on the cover. So,
And I've got a method where you can challenge any Jewish person and they can't rebut this. I say that anybody who claims to be a Jew is a pathological liar. And here's how I can prove that. We can't dig up the actual burial ground or the coffin or grave of Shem, Isaac, Abraham, Peter, or Jacob. We can't, with absolute 100% certainty, say this is the exact spot where one of those guys, Shem, Isaac, Abraham, or Peter, or Jacob, is buried. We can't stick a needle into their arm and get some fresh blood to conduct a DNA comparison test. There is nobody out there that we can dig up the actual grave and get fresh blood to do a DNA check to be a gauge for a test to prove whether or not anybody that's alive today is actually, in fact, a Jew. Therefore, anybody who claims to be Jew is a pathological liar. Number two, a real Jew from the tribe of Judah would be one of the lost sheep. And I say, duh, the reason why they're called the lost sheep is duh, because they're lost, because they don't know who they are, duh, because they're lost. If you're really a real Jew from the tribe of Judah. Which, by the way, these people falsely claim to be the one chosen people. That's a lie. That's absolutely a lie. And the Bible refers to the lost sheep, specifically meaning the whole house of Israel. All 12 tribes. Actually, there's 13 tribes, because the Levites, I call them the de facto 13th tribe, the Levites, the priest class, they were dispersed among the other 12 tribes. So there's actually 13 tribes, the whole house of Israel, not just the single Jew, the chosen one. The Jews
I have no problem.
They are not the chosen ones.
I have no problem believing that 2,000 years ago, one of my ancestors walked out of slavery, 3,000 years ago, walked out of slavery, crossed the Caucasus Mountains, and started being called Caucasians. And that would fit exactly the prophecies in the Bible. I've got that in Mystery Babylon too, that we would forget who we were.
And that's where we're at today. And to be fair to everybody, I'm not just picking on little Jews, poor little Jews. All the Israelites, all 13 tribes, if they are really an Israelite, They're lost. That's why they're called the lost sheep. Duh. Because they don't know who they are. Duh. Because they're lost. So the truth is, nobody knows if they're actually truly an Israelite. Period. There's no debate. There's only debunk. Because they're the lost sheep are lost. And people think that because they're a bloodline, the Bible doesn't say just because you're a bloodline. It's only who's going to be saved. Only those people are going to be saved are those that look for God. The only way you can get to God is through the Son, through Jesus Christ. If you believe that God's the Father and Jesus is the Son and the Holy Ghost, all three are one, you're going to be saved. You don't believe that, you can be blotted out of the book of life. But you tell that to a Jewish person, that's blasphemy, because in their opinion, okay, they believe the Messiah hasn't come yet. And so, to a so-called Jewish person, actually, they're not a race. A person who's a Jew practices a religion called Judaism. Judaism is actually devil worshipping, Satan worshipping.
Now, some Jews have stated that Lucifer or Satan, the devil, was their god.
Yeah, you read the Jewish Talmud, stuff out of that.
Yes.
Some pretty bad stuff. Doesn't sound like a very, I'd say, a pleasant Bible. And this is why I tell people, you don't want to hire a Jewish attorney like Larry Beecraft or Jeffrey Dickstein, or I don't know if Tommy Cryer is Jewish or not, but I have a feeling he just might be. And I'm going to read you a couple quotes. You're going to love this.
By the way, let me put in a plug here. Mystery Babylon, New World Order Unveiled. It talks about the I call it the Israelites Handbook. It's for true Christians, and got there right on the cover. 2,000 years ago, the Bible told us of the coming of the New World Order as the eighth beast, the mark of the beast, and warned us about the Jews who say they're Jews, but are not. Jesus told us that they were liars and of their father Satan. In this book, the past meets the future. And folks, you can get that in either hard copy or you can get it by a PDF. FreeAmerican.com. This show will be up on FreeAmerican.com, and Louis, after the show, I'll get the links and everything and put it up for your flyer so people can see your work. I think you've done great work, and any way I can help and support you, I'll try to do that.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Are we back on TalkShoe, or we never got connected on that?
I don't know for sure if we're on that or not.
Okay. Well, I'm going to read you why you don't want to hire a Jewish attorney to, quote, represent you in a federal tax case. Let's see here. It says, on the house of the Goy...
Hang on, hold on just 1 second here. Let me try to get back on that. I was not on that. We're still recording. The whole show will be recorded up on the website the whole hour, even with these small glitches. So.
Welcome to TalkShoe. Please enter the call ID followed by the pound key. Your entry is not valid.
Oh, yes, it is.
Yeah.
Your entry is not valid, or your call is not scheduled at this time. 8759.
Never mind.
You know what you ought to do every time this happens?
What's that?
Is you should have it ready for your next show. Look up, do a little research and find out who's the company, who's the owner of the broadcasting company that you're broadcasting through.
I'm not. I'm doing almost all of this on my own. I am probably one of the most. I've blocked in every library around the country, Louis. This kind of information that we're getting out, that you're providing to the American people right now, it's vital, and But I want to make some qualifications. People used to ask me about Lynn Meredith and Irwin Schiff, and I said, well, they could be absolutely correct in everything that they say here, or almost everything that they say.
Irwin Schiff was a Jew.
I know.
Which makes me wonder, is he really in prison? Because I know for a fact that Jews consider it an honor to God if they can sacrifice themselves, if they can take down and kill or destroy or ruin the lives as many of the Goyim as they possibly can. So, is Irwin Schiff really in prison? Or is he on a beach having pina coladas next to all the federal judges with Eddie Kane?
I don't know. But I do tell, I tell people it's a little like going up to Al Capone and going, hey, Al, I found out extortion is not legal. I'm not paying you no more.
Yeah. People who don't people who don't understand, and because of the dialectics, when you start talking about any particular group or race of people, because of the dialectics and the brainwashing, the minute you start talking about Jew, people will automatically turn their ears off to the speaker. They'll think, oh, that guy's a racist, he's anti-Jewish, or he's anti-Semitic. And here's my response to it. I want people to know this is, Lee, what nationality do you think I am? Let's see, I'm not white, I'm not black. I'm Mexican because I wasn't born in Mexico and I can't speak Spanish. I was born a few miles south of the border in Texas, so I guess you could call me a Texican. But if you were to see me in person, you'd have trouble trying to figure out what my racial nationality is, because I'm not short and I'm not dark like your typical Mexican or Texican. I'm very light-skinned. You would think I'm Italian. I'm also 1/4 Apache. Most of my ancestry is from Spain. I do have relatives in Mexico, so being Spaniard, Mexican, I'm 1/4 Apache Indian, and by the way, Apache Indians are probably the most directly related to the Iroquois. The Iroquois were here first. They were very light-skinned. Basically, if you kept them out of the sun for a few months, their skin would be completely white, the same as any other white man. Okay, Iroquois are an Israelite. Okay, they were here first. They were here before the British. They were here before the Chinese. The Iroquois Indian. Okay, when we came here, we killed them. The Iroquois. When the people came here, they killed the Iroquois and they took over their cotton farms and hemp farms and all that other stuff. The framers of the constitutions copied the Iroquois Republican form of government. That's where that came from. When you really, really read history. But what race am I? Let's see. What kind of a racist could I be? I'm a mutt. I'm a Heinz 57 mutt. I'm mixed up. I'm not black. I'm not white. I'm not Mexican. I can't speak Spanish. I speak Thai better than I do speak Spanish. My ex-girlfriend is half Navajo Indian, half Italian, and I've been raising her son, who's half black, as my own since he was 2 years old, and I go to a black church. Once in a while. I don't go to church very often, but the church I go to is a black church. So what kind of a racist are you going to claim that I am? And how can you claim I'm anti-Jewish when the fact of life is I've never met a Jewish person? And here's the funny thing, Clay, you're going to love this. When somebody tries to claim I'm anti-Semitic, I say, really? What is anti-Semitic? I don't know. I just might be anti-Semitic. Can you explain to me what anti-Semitic is? And the so-called Jewish person, a liar, will refuse to answer that question. And here's the reason why. A Semite is a Shemite. A Shemite comes from Shem. Shem was a Hebrew who was a white man. So when somebody claims that I'm anti-Semitic, or that you're anti-Semitic, or anybody else is anti-Semitic, what they're claiming is that you hate white people. Clay, do you hate white people?
No, I don't.
Are you a black supremacist that hates white people?
No.
So how could you possibly be anti-Semitic? Isn't that ridiculous?
I do have curly hair, and I've got natural rhythm, and I don't have any idea who my great-great-great-great-great-great grandmother slept with. And you're welcome on my show anytime, whatever color you are. What I mean, I've been accused of being racist by the NAACP after I had 3 black men on my show. And it's the whole thing about being anti-Semitic. Before I started the militias around the country, I had no idea. What the whole story was about Jews, because I didn't even go to a church. But I've studied a lot since then, Louis. I do have Mystery Babylon, and I'd like for everybody to go to freeamerican.com, listen to this show, and understand what everything that you've said today, we've got in Mystery Babylon, talking about, it goes back 2,000 years. I've talked about the Jews who say they're Jews and are not Jews. That don't mean, because I'm telling you about what it says in the Bible, folks, that don't make me anti-Semitic. We need your support. There's answers in the Bible too, I think. One of them is come out of her.
Clay, you need to start making fun of anybody who claims you're anti-Semitic. See, everybody's been mistrained what anti-Semitic means. A Semite is a Shemite. A Shemite comes from Shem. Shem is a Hebrew who's a white man. So when they're claiming you're anti-Semitic, they're actually claiming that you hate white people. That's ridiculous, Clay. Do you hate white people?
Not at all. and folks, let me clarify. Let me clarify this just a second here. I am a Texan in exile here, and I'm really proud to be from Texas. I'm really proud to be an Israelite, because I think I am. I can remember things like that, and I study it. I think you're right on. And I've always felt for the last 40 years, if I want to smoke a joint, smoke a tobacco, smoke whatever I want, eat whatever I want, vitamin C or apricot seeds, I should have that right. And yet I've had people on my show that have gone to jail for telling you to eat apricot seeds. So, I'll smoke to that.
Now, we only have, a few minutes left?
I have 1 minute left.
1 minute left. Everybody needs to look at the first Judiciary Act of 1789. 1 Stat 73, it's Section 35 of the Judiciary Act. It gives you 3 choices. This is the second biggest legal secret. I got to get this out quick. The parties may plead and manage their own causes personally, or by assistance of counsel, or attorneys at law. That's codified at 28 U.S.C. 1654, where they dropped off attorneys. Attorneys have never been required. You have the right to manage your own cause personally. It doesn't say anything about the right to represent. You have the right to have assistance of counsel or an attorney. Assistance of counsel is a separate thing. You got 3 choices: manage and plead your own causes personally, or by assistance of counsel, or attorneys at law. Attorneys never been required. It's been dropped off when they codified the statute, 1 Stat 73, which is the Judiciary Act of 1789, Section 35. We have the right to the assistance of counsel who is not an attorney. You do not have to be represented. The only place representation exists is inside a military courtroom at Title 10, United States Code, Section 838. If you look in your state statutes, you will find a similar state statute worded exactly the same way as the federal statute. And the right to be represented only exists in a military courtroom before a general or special courts-martial. And everybody needs to start objecting to the military jurisdiction in all the state courts.
That's that military flag. That's that gold fringe flag, isn't it?
The gold fringe flag tells you what kind of courtroom you're in. But if you start objecting to that, the judge will just take the flag out of the courtroom, and he'll try to deny that the courtroom is a military courtroom. He'll deny that you're in a courts-martial. But then, when you ask the judge and question him, well, do I have a right to be represented? He'll say yes. Then you confront him with these 2 statutes, and then he's going to end up running out of the courtroom, because they do not want to admit to the general public that the right to represent only exists in a military courtroom